Hi, we're here at Eurogamer Expo to talk about EVE Online and Dust 514, and we're here with Connected Digital World. So I'm Jonathan Lander. I'm the executive producer of EVE Online, which means that everything to do with the EVE Online, the game, I'm kind of responsible for, which is daunting at times, but a lot of good fun. And we're about to announce our next expansion, which will be the 18th free expansion for EVE Online. So we've been going for 9.5 years now. 10th anniversary is around the corner in May of next year. So we're really looking forward to that. And we've over the years we've done 2 free expansions a year. So on December 4th we're going to be releasing the 18th. That one will be called EVE Online Retribution. And one of the things that's often been pointed at EVE is that it's quite a dangerous game. It's got quite a reputation about it. One of the things that's kind of happened over the years is that the consequences for your actions are sometimes a bit lost. It's almost like people can get away with murder, and it's kind of got this reputation of being very harsh. So what we're doing with Retribution is really we're reworking a number of the core systems to bring sort of a number of options for players who feel they've been slighted in some way to get back at their nemesis. So we're completely reworking how bounty hunting works in the game. Previously it's been a way to sort of get yourself publicised on the billboards in the game, and if you get to the top of the most wanted you get your pictures sort of up in lights, but it's been very exploitable and it hasn't really worked as a bounty hunting system. So we're going to completely rework that so that now if somebody does something bad to you, you can put a bounty on them. It won't be exploitable. Other players will then be able to pick up those bounties. They'll be able to then start going off and chasing people and giving you a sense of revenge as you see your bounty going down as people are killing the opposition. And that will not just be on individuals, but now you can also put bounties on their corporation, which are like guilds or clans in EVE. You'll be able to put the bounties on them, so if one person out of the corporation suddenly starts sticking their neck out a bit too far, you can start taking it out on the whole corporation. And with things like that, sort of things like the player instructions for star bases, things like that, they suddenly become more vulnerable now. There's an incentive for people to go out and make their own content with these bounty hunting rules. And it's the thing about EVE, we're very much around putting tools in the hands of the players to make their own content, to make their own choices, do what they want to do, rather than us sort of putting, you must do these quests or you must be this sort of class. It's very much an open-based game, so the players can find their own route.
So for the 3 or 4 people who don't know what EVE is,
yep.
Or are new to online gaming, do you want to tell us a little bit about EVE?
Absolutely. So EVE is a science fiction universe. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful game. You basically pilot a starship through more than 7,500 solar systems. There's only one copy of those. We don't shard the game, so everybody who plays EVE is all playing together. It's not as if you're on different servers in different parts of the world. Everybody who plays EVE Online is within the same world. And that means that if you make a social connection with somebody, if you meet somebody and they help you, or if you meet somebody and maybe they don't help you, that's unique. That's a unique event that's happening in this world. It's happening between players. It's not happening between sort of some random creatures that we as the developers have made. And people can come into EVE, and I think one of the daunting things about EVE is one of its greatest strengths, which is we don't set goals for you. We don't tell you what you should be. It's not like where maybe you're a human wizard, or you're an elvish warrior or something. You can very much choose exactly what you want to be, and that sort of destiny for yourself you can change for as long as you're playing the game. You can choose to be someone who wants to go out and claim bounties on fighting against NPCs or fighting against various factions, or you can decide then that maybe you want to try your hand at some industry and making sort of ships and selling them on the market. The market sort of is huge and it's completely player created. We don't see anything on it. We have an economist actually on the staff who keeps an eye on the GDP of the EVE universe, and how much money is coming in and being created and being destroyed, and how we balance those sorts of things out. We've got a lot of people who do nothing but play the market, buy low, move in a couple of places, sell high, and looking at their margins. And then we've got other people who say, I want to be the leader of thousands of other players and take space. I want to take areas of the universe and make our own home, make our own kingdom. And we just allow players to really find their own destiny. So it's a very open-ended game.
So obviously, as you say, it's been going for quite a number of years now. How has the development changed and the course of your vision for the game changed over those years?
In some ways it's really zigzagged, and in other ways it's been very sort of true to itself. I mean, when we shipped the game in 2003, it was a tiny fraction of what we have now. So what we've done is we've expanded on that initial set of very small systems and made the game, really fleshed it out, really made it almost, it's a world simulator. And we've looked at different areas. We've gone from adding many more ships. We've looked at giving people the ability to build their own sort of fortresses, their own take their own tracts of land. We've put in random NPC incursions into systems. We've looked at putting avatars into the game. We've changed how you actually create your character into one of the best character creation systems in the world. But right the way through it, there's been this truth that we've always tried to keep to, which is this is not a game for the faint-hearted. Death has a meaning in our game. It's not like, oh, I got killed, I go back to the start, I've still got everything with me, and maybe I lose 30 seconds or a minute of time. It's a game which rewards team play, which rewards working with other people. It's a good first single player game in this sort of multiplayer world, but that's not the point. The point of this is working with other people to achieve a set of goals that you set yourself. And that, when there are consequences for your actions, is really what gives it the hook. If you can get into Eve and you build something and you say that thing is mine, you've invested something of yourself in it, and then if somebody comes and tries to take it from you, you'll defend it, you'll fight for it, you'll make alliances with other people to help you defend these things, and then when they need your help, you'll go and help them. Or maybe you want to be the guy who kicks over the sandcastle, and you get a bunch of anarchists who want to come in and cause mayhem. It supports all of those play styles, and whatever we've done, we've always sort of kept true to that. And everything we do is really to try and let the players do what they want to do, rather than what we think our players should do.
So it's definitely something for everybody then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does it fit in, or does it fit in with Dust?
Yeah, so Dust 514 is our second game, and it's a AAA first-person shooter on PlayStation 3. It's free to play, so everybody on the PlayStation Network will be able to just download it and give it a go. And it's, in many respects, it'll be familiar to first-person shooter fans. You'll be able to jump into a battle, you'll be able to start running around, different weapons, different drop suits, different sort of armors. You'll be able to run around and have a really good shooter experience. But it is tied into the whole of the EVE universe. So when you're running around on a planet, shooting around trying to capture an installation or to obliterate the enemy team, that action is taking place on one of the planets around which EVE players are flying their starships. And it's happening at the same time. We were talking about social groupings a little bit earlier and how powerful they are in EVE. Well, you'll be able as a Dust mercenary to join a corporation which has EVE players in it as well. So you'll be able to sort of type some chat into your corporation chat channel, and that you'll be talking in real time to people on the PlayStation when you're on the PC or a Mac playing EVE. When you'll be able to fight for one of the factions in EVE, and EVE players will try and capture a solar system for their empire. And Dust players will be able to take battles for that same faction, and that will help with actually taking the system. So if we win the battle on the ground, that makes it easier for the Starship pilots to capture the system. So there's sort of a bigger consequence to actually winning these battles. And then when you're actually in a battle, often in first-person shooters right now, you call in the artillery, you put your spotter down, and then the artillery magically comes in from somewhere. In Dust, when you actually call in that artillery, that orbital strike, you're actually talking to a player who is playing EVE, who is in a spaceship, and they're actually firing their guns down at your behest where you want them to. And so you actually get that artillery happening in real time. So you're having to coordinate your forces down on the ground and saying, right, we need ships in orbit now above us to get ready to give us the air support. And then the people you're fighting against may well have their own EVE players in their corporation saying, we need you to knock those spaceships out so that we don't get the orbital bombardment on our heads. And all of a sudden you get these epic conflicts of EVE players fighting each other in their starships, Dust players fighting each other in this great first-person shooter, and it's all linked in real time happening. And it's never been done before.
I was going to say that to me sounds like a challenge, because effectively you're developing a first-person shooter game, and you're developing a first-person shooter game that thinks with an existing game already. So what were the challenges in that?
Well, many. There were many. I mean, just the fact that we're happening in a single world. This isn't happening on different servers everywhere. This all happens in one place. We've had, our record is over 60,000 people playing EVE at the same moment. So that's all happening at the same time, right away across the globe. The challenges of a first-person shooter mean that we've had to massively expand our infrastructure so that we're able to cope with this. But everything still ultimately ends up in our supercomputing cluster, which is based in London. So it's still all, everything ultimately filters down into that. It's been great working with Sony. They've had to make a number of adjustments on their end as well, because all of the kit is ours, but we have to integrate with PlayStation Store, PlayStation Home, PlayStation Network. We want to push expansions for Dust out on a similar sort of pace that we do for EVE, of constantly expanding it year on year. And Sony have been fantastic. They really saw the vision of what we were trying to do and said, wow, okay, let's work out what we both need to do to make this a success. So it actually hasn't been a challenge working with Sony, because they've been so sort of bought into our vision of what we want to do. It's been a pleasure working with them. It's been great. But then you have things like the market and the economies will be joined. So if I've got money, if I'm earning money in Dust, that money will be able to flow through into EVE and the other, and vice versa. Eventually in Dust you'll be able to manufacture things with the land you've captured on planets, and you'll be able to move that into the EVE economy. And EVE players will be able to transport your goods to other places, and then people will be able to buy those goods. So balancing that is incredibly hard, and we have our own economist who helps us with that. And just learning how to do a first-person shooter. We've got a lot of experience in single-shot spaceship games. Learning how to do a first-person shooter has been a great challenge for us to learn. We've brought a lot of really good people in. EVE is actually made in Reykjavik in Iceland, so CCP is an Icelandic company. We actually build Dust in Shanghai, but also in Newcastle in the UK. So we've got about 23, 24 really good console engineers up in Newcastle who are helping to build the core engine. And they're working with Shanghai, who are doing some of everything else. So coordinating all of those different time zones and offices, making sure that we can build Dust and make it a fantastic AAA first-person shooter experience. And then we've got a joint team that sits in Reykjavik, and coordinating all of that, just making sure that we're all we're running in parallel and we're not tying each game back, but we're making the right connections. That's been quite tricky, but it seems to be paying off so far.
So obviously Dust, you're saying, is free to play. Was there any time where you guys thought, actually, this is such a good title, should we actually sell it rather than make it free to play?
I challenge one of the assumptions I think we're making, which is that if you want to make a AAA game, you can't make it free to play. So I think that's a mistake. I think looking at a lot of games now, that there are a number of companies that are proving that myth wrong. I think if you make a really, really good game, it can be free to play. But you need to make it free to play from the beginning. You need to think, okay, how are we actually going to make this? How are we going to build it? How are we going to make sure that this... people go free to play in order to get an incredibly wide, I will try it base. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do it and why we wanted to make Dust in the first place. We wanted to go console, we wanted to go shooter, and we wanted to go free to play, because it just puts you on a massive user base who can potentially use it. Marry that up with Sony, who've got billions and billions and billions of install base on the PS3. Why wouldn't you try this game? So we get a lot of that. And the great thing about it is you don't have to make it free to try and then we hit you with some charges. You'll be able to play Dust, you'll be able to play it for years and not put a penny into it. But we think that some people will want to tailor their gaming experience. They'll want to have the job suit, the armor, which really signifies them out of the suit. The lead guy to follow in this battle, because I'm the guy who can coordinate this. I'm a great player. Come and follow me and be part of this great corporation. But we also know that there are people who don't want to be playing the game 24/7. Can't play the game 24/7. So people will allow people to kind of trade money for time. So you'll be able to buy an amazing gun, which normally maybe you'd have to play the game for two solid days for. If I come home from work, I've got a couple of hours to play the game. If I want to make a microtransaction and buy that gun, fantastic. What we're making sure that we do though is that every single gun that you can buy for real world money, there is an equivalent gun, completely balanced, exactly the the same as its board counterpart, that people who are on the free-to-play track can actually earn the money to actually buy that weapon and get the skills to be able to use that weapon. So we're not making we're doing everything because we do not want to be a buy to win. We want to be, if you want to pay some money and get the convenience of not having to maybe spend as long to grind your way through to get that, you can do that. But if you want to play the game free, you can also do that as well. And so that, by building the game from the ground up, it means you can still have a fantastic first-person shooter. You can make a AAA game, but you can also make it so millions of people will try it, and a good number will actually monetize it. Because we actually look at it from a slightly different perspective as well, which is we're in the business of building virtual worlds, and this is where the whole Eve and Dust thing comes in. So even if someone comes in to Dust and isn't paying for the game at all, they're taking part in this world, and they're making a shot which maybe kills somebody who's about to finish some epic conquest of a structure which will change how things happen in the broader Eve universe. And that moment can touch thousands, millions of people in the game world. That participation for us is worth somebody coming in and playing the game for free. And Eve is a subscription game, and Eve is a very successful subscription game. It's grown every single year, and we've grown our subscriber base for the last 9 years. We're fully expecting to do that again. I think we're the only MMO, or certainly Western MMO, that has grown every single year in the last 10 years. And we're showing that if you have the right product where people invest something of themselves and they have something in this virtual world which is theirs, people are happy to pay a subscription for a quality product. So some people say, well, if you're going free to play on Dust, you're going to go free to play on Eve. No, absolutely not, because we don't need to. It's the right thing for our players, and that's what they're happy doing. So when you've got these sort of multiple business models but in the same world, it actually gives you a huge amount of freedom to do some amazing things. And we're unique in the industry in being in that position right now. So it's a bit daunting, but it's a great place to be.
So if people want to play Eve, where do they sign up?
So you can just go to eveonline.com. You can get a 14-day free trial. So you can go there, download the game. You don't have to go into a store to buy it. It's all digital download. You can go in, you can try the game. There's a tutorial in there. There's all sorts of help for you to get. There are even people who play Eve in order their chosen role is to be the teachers of Eve. So you can go in. There's Alliance Eve University, who you can actually go and have a chat with. You can go to their website. You can go and see them. They'll teach you how to play the game. They've got nothing to do with CCP. They just play our game. So just go to eveonline.com. 14-day free trial. Go in, try the game, and hopefully people will see what a great thing it is and subscribe.
And when is Dust out?
So Dust is in closed beta right now. We haven't actually set a launch date for it, but we've got a build here at the Eurogamer Expo, which is a really big step forward in terms of a lot of the polish, a lot of the performance issues that we were having. It's a really good, fun game now. We've got groups of 32 people all fighting against each other out on the floor, and they're getting really into it. So it's in closed beta. I haven't set a date yet, but it's looking good.
Thank you very much.